welcome on in to another episode of Getting Well with Terry and Friends. I'm Terry, that's Will, and we are ready to break down some Saturday NHL. We have 13 games on the slate today, a huge slate of games. I picked out most of them for us to talk about here, and then there's 4 at the end that will go in the goalie poll segment. No show standings as normal on the weekends. Haven't had the time this morning to update the standings. So the updated standings will be ready for Monday's show and will be posted on Twitter on Monday as well. But we'll jump right into the first game here. Obviously, the game that I'm really excited to talk about here in this one. Kind of some interesting stuff going on in this. So I'll bring up the odds here. You can currently find Minnesota minus 103 to minus 111. Boston is minus 110 to minus 114. 6.5s right across the board. And this one here, Boston actually opened up as a minus 137 favorite and now has moved down to minus 110, despite 85% of the money coming in on Boston. So normally that's not something that I look at. I had a friend of the show that comes on as well, Melissa, messaged me and let me know that was going on. So kind of interesting there with the line movement. Noel, let's go wild. Darn right, let's go wild. But yeah, so you have Boston here, who has played really well this season so far, got off to a great start. Then you have Minnesota, who got off to a really bad start, finally got that win against Vancouver. Now head to Boston. Minnesota won both meetings last year against Boston. 16-8-4 against Boston all time. 9-4-1 in Boston. Obviously, I'm taking the Wild here. I got plus 100, and now they're minus 103 to minus 110. I'm not quite sure I would recommend taking them at minus 110, just because if you look at the two teams as they are right now, Boston should be heavier favorites in this. Apparently, Nick told me that one of their defensemen will be out, so they'll be without 3 defensemen now. Brandon Carlo is out for this game, but I don't think that moves 20 cents. I don't think he's worth 20 cents. So interesting things going on in this game when it comes to line movement. I am on Minnesota money line plus 100. I'm on the over 6.5, which I got for minus 110. Can still get for minus 112, minus 115 on different spots. I have Matt Boldy over half a point, minus 110. He was born in Boston. He'll have a ton of family at this game. I'm sure we'll get a motivated Boldy, who was kept off the score sheet last game. I think he has a big, I was going to say night, but a big day here in Boston. And then I have Kirill Kaprizov over 1.5 points for plus 182, which is big price for the thrill. So that's how I'm tackling this game. Obviously, I'll be rooting for the Wild as a fan, and I could see this as a handicapping. I could see this going either way. We'll have to see. Will, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Wild and Bruins. What do you think of this one?
So the market is right at where my projections are for last year. Bruins 55% win probability. This year, it's closer to 80%. And I don't think that's a real number because of how Minnesota's defense has played so poorly. I just don't think it's sustainable. I think it's bad goaltending mixed with some unlucky breaks, honestly. They're not this bad defensively. They're not the worst defensive team in the NHL. And I don't think this is going to hold forever. So I'm going to stay off this game for that reason. Because last year, I have this line as perfect. And now I have it as way off because of a small sample size that I don't think is a real example of what the Wild bring to the table. So I think this is a great game to sit back and watch. I think we're going to get a lot of goals, great power plays, but I don't think I have a bet on it.
All right. Yeah, Jonas Brodin, Minnesota's best defenseman, one of the most underrated defensemen in the league, has not looked like himself this year. And he's a huge part of the Wild's defense. So I'm not blaming him specifically. It's a team game, but with him, you really need him because he's so crucial for that defense. John Merrill will also make his season debut. I believe he'll play with Kalen Addison. That'll be a good addition for the defensive game as well. This
Yeah,
one.
right now I have Minnesota below Arizona, Anaheim, Columbus, Vancouver defensively, and that's just not going to hold for the rest of the year.
Yeah, when I was on Nick's show, I was trying to say like, you can't throw Fleury's first 2 games out the window. You can't do that, obviously. But if he's not going to give up 7 goals every game, those were 2 rough games to the start of the year. The numbers are going to be really skewed because of that. But it will even itself out here.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it. Moving on to this game, this one's pretty interesting. We got the San Jose Sharks and the New Jersey Devils. You can get San Jose plus 163 to plus 179. New Jersey minus 192 to minus 217. 6.5s. There are some 6s available as well in this game. And this one, the Sharks, 7-2 in their last 9 games in New Jersey. So they have had some success in New Jersey. For me, though, I don't see the Sharks winning 2 games in a row very often at all. This New Jersey team, a team was pretty high on coming into the season, hasn't quite shown their true potential. I think looking better in the last 2 wins for sure. The defense and goaltending as well. So I think New Jersey is a team that we can expect to do better going forward, especially better than the Sharks. But you'd have to look, they're minus 192 to minus 200 favorites. So you'd have to look in regulation or maybe on the puck line. And I'm not quite ready to trust New Jersey with the puck line quite yet. So for me, ultimately off this game at this exact moment, it's possible during the show or most likely after the show, I may add some props here with New Jersey. Jesper Bratt, probably Jack Hughes as well. But other than that, I'll probably be staying off mostly for this game. Will, Sharks and Devils, what do you think here?
Yeah, so I'm gonna stay off. I have a slight lean towards the Sharks, but I'm honestly just gonna say it. I don't buy it. So last year I have this game about 50-50, and now this year I have it about 70-30 for the Devils. And my model doesn't weight this year enough yet to show that in the outputs. So the Devils are clearly the better team from the 5 games they've played this year. My one angle that I'm looking at, I have this game projected for 5.6 goals. If we use this year's stats, I have it projected for 4.1 goals, which is something, it's still early. I have a few of these today around the 4-goal mark for this year's stats. I don't think they're totally real. I think we need a few more game sample size, but it is just something to look at because some of these teams are scoring way more than they should be, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's interesting, especially with the scoring up so much this year. Well, it's not up that much from last year, but from the last few years, it's gone up a lot. So maybe some teams are just scoring more than, like you said, more than they should. Going on to this one where I hope we get a lot of goals. We have the Arizona Coyotes and the Ottawa Senators here. You can get Arizona plus 205 to plus 227. Ottawa minus 250 to minus 278. 6.5s right across the board in this one. I got over 6.5 in this game at minus 120. You can still get it for minus 119, minus 120 at some books. That's what I would recommend in this one. I'm also looking at Arizona plus 1.5, which you can get for minus 107, minus 111, minus 115 different spots. Arizona 7-1 in their last 8 games in Ottawa. Kind of the same deal with Toronto. They play really well in Toronto. I took them plus 2.5, which was easy money with the Coyotes. Shocking to say that. Arizona beat Ottawa 5-3 and 8-5 last year. Obviously, the Senators team has improved this year. This Coyotes team is continuing to get worse year by year. But I think we get goals, and I think it's possible that Arizona could potentially upset in this one. So if there's another game, I'm going to back Arizona. I can't believe twice in 1 week. Um, it's probably this one. I'll probably be adding Arizona plus 1.5 for a smaller bet. Um, but I think Arizona competes in this one against the Senators. Will, Coyotes, Senators. What do you think here?
Yeah, so I have a slight lean, 7% lean, actually not slight, on the Coyotes here. I didn't play it though, because again, this year's stats are just so different from last year. I want to hammer this home. When that happens, I just wait for them to even out. I wait for a couple games to see what reality is. So this year, it agrees with the minus 250 for the Senators. This year's stats totally agrees with that. But last year's stats um, fully disagrees and makes this about a 50-50 game. Now, I'm not prepared to bet that because how poor Arizona's offense has looked this year and how good Ottawa's offense has looked this year. It's a new team. There's a new top six there, and they can score on both units of the power play and on even strength. So I'm going to stay off this one. I don't like the over or under just because these teams. I want to know more about these teams. I'm very excited that Ottawa looks fun to watch, just kind of like Buffalo. It's been a while where they've been boring to watch, but it's fun to tune into an Ottawa game with Giroux and the Cat and Kachuk. I mean, it's talent. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And then you watch Arizona, and not much talent there to really watch. But hey, yeah, they'll get there one day. Now they'll have to go through pains like the Senators have had to go to, but yeah, not much talent on that Coyotes team. But I'm still willing to back them plus 1.5 in this one. Um, Moving on to this one here. Let me get that. St. Louis Blues, a dog here in Edmonton. You can currently find St. Louis plus 120 to plus 135. Edmonton minus 147 to minus 160. Sevens 1.6.5 available in this game. And this one, kind of like the Sharks in New Jersey game, I don't really have the best feelings about this one. I don't think St. Louis should be a dog, but I don't want to underestimate Edmonton. I did that in their last game against Carolina. Well, it's not really that I underestimated it. I did. I did. I underestimated Edmonton, and they beat Carolina. Um, Now they're here against the Blues. I don't know. I'm not someone you're going to find betting on the Blues very often, but at this price, you may have to look towards the Blues, in my opinion. As much as that pains me to say, I kind of want to throw out. But Will, Blues and Oilers, what do you think here?
Yeah, so I agree with you. I don't get this number. I played this. I actually went a different angle and played the St. Louis team total over 3.5 plus 120 yesterday. Last year I have this projected for 4.1 goals for St. Louis. This year 5.4. I think that's a little inflated, but both are clearly over 4 goals. And this Edmonton defense and goaltending is still not that strong. I can't take St. Louis money line just because McDavid and Draisaitl can win 7-4. They can win 7-5. They can win 7-6. So there's just no point in trying to get into a goal scoring match with these guys and hoping to win. But I think St. Louis is going to be able to match them in the goal scoring match tonight. So I went over 3.5 goals. I also wanted to just quickly mention that St. Louis was the best road team in the NHL last year. And at this point, and they've only played 2 games, so take it with a grain of salt, best offense in the NHL. So I'm backing St. Louis team total today.
All right. The only thing I don't like about the Blues in this spot is their schedule. It's so weird, not playing. It's I don't know. I just don't. Well, it's not that I don't like it because as a Wild fan, give St. Louis a horrible schedule. Make them play a whole bunch of games at the end of the year. That sounds great to me. But for betting wise, at this time of the year, it's a tough schedule for them to have. So if they come out slow at all, Edmonton could beat the
Yep.
crap out of them.
And
but they could come out rested and
that's
raring
why
to
I went.
go.
That's why I went with team total, because I just don't trust them to win this game. One other thing, Edmonton's allowed 4 in 3 out of 4. So
Goaltending's still an issue.
yeah.
We'll move on to another game where there's goaltending issues as well. We have the LA Kings and the Washington Capitals here. You can find LA anywhere from plus 110 to plus 123. Washington minus 135 to minus 150. 6.5s right across the board in this one here. LA has had some issues with their defense goaltending. They've gone over in 5 of their 6 games this year. Washington's gone over in 3 of 5. Both these teams have averaging over 3 goals a game, averaging over 3.5 goals against. Washington has had success against this Kings team, 5-1 in the last 6 meetings. I'm not getting involved with the side, but I will take the total, which I got at plus 100. LA is they're so different from previous LA teams, kind of like Minnesota too, where they were huge defensive teams for so long, and now, especially this year, LA is definitely scoring more, giving up a lot. So they're more of an over team, surprisingly. Both these teams so far. So give me the over at plus 100. I think we get goals in this one here. Will, Kings, Capitals. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there on the over. I did send this out, I believe it was Thursday night after a couple losses. I grabbed the Kings at plus 140, and the number never showed up again. This Kings team, quite frankly, should have won against Pittsburgh. That might have been the most misleading scoreline I've seen in my life, actually. It was, what was it, 6-1?
Yeah, I had the over, and it was 6-0 with like a minute left, and I'm like, oh my god! And then the LA scored one to get my over, but yeah, and they were out shooting them like the entire game.
They weren't just out shooting them; they were dominating them. And the reason I know this, I had Cal Peterson saves. I thought Pittsburgh was going to get 40 shots that night, and instead, in the first period, LA probably had at least 75% of the offensive zone time against a good Pittsburgh team. Washington is not as good as Pittsburgh. My only fear here is it's been a long road trip for LA. And Washington comes out and kind of just gets up early, and LA has no more energy to play hockey. But I'm happy with the plus 140 I got at the money line. I think this should be closer to pick 'em. I think if they played this, which they won't in a few months, it would be pick 'em. So, yeah.
All right. And speaking of that Pittsburgh team, Pittsburgh Penguins and Columbus Blue Jackets. This one, you can find Pittsburgh minus 160 to minus 182. Columbus is plus 140 to plus 135 to plus 151. 6.5s right across the board. In this one, as I was saying on yesterday's show, um, we've probably seen goodbye to, or we're probably saying goodbye to 5.5s in NHL. They seem to be gone now, and all we are seeing is 6.5s, some 6s, but not very many, and 7. So the NHL is changing just from last year to the year before. But to this game here, Pittsburgh, Columbus. Pittsburgh has had success in Columbus, 5-2 in their last 7 trips there. And 7 of the last 9 meetings between these two teams overall have gone over 6.5. They've been going high scoring games. And then Pittsburgh, in 3 of their 4 games this year, have gone over. Columbus has gone over in 4 of their 5 games this year. Both these teams are scoring and giving goals up. So for me, it's over. It was pretty simple. I'm on 5 overs today, and this is another one of them. I think we get goals here. The one thing that makes me feel a little bit is Jake Guentzel is out of the lineup tonight. He took a big hit and is injured and will not be playing. That that potentially does hurt Pittsburgh's offense a bit. So That's the only thing that makes me a little about the over, but I still think it gets there. I think we get back and forth here. Um, Probably a 4-3. We're seeing a lot of 4-3s. I think this could be a 4-3 game. Potentially overtime, but I'm not going there again with Pittsburgh because when I took them to go to overtime against LA, it was 6-0. So that was not the best read, but hey, it happens. Will, Penguins, Blue Jackets, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I'm still kicking myself for not grabbing. I think it was minus 140 Thursday night. I really do remember seeing that, and I just didn't grab it. And my model would have loved it. And just logically, I mean, minus 140 for Pittsburgh against this Blue Jackets team, that's a gift. I'm surprised I didn't take it. I'm still kind of shaking my head. I have this number still a slight edge to Pittsburgh, about 2%. My expected goals projection is 6 goals for both teams. I think this could be a spot, where Pittsburgh goes under. And I say that knowing now that they allowed a goal in the final minute to lose it last game. So maybe just wait a few weeks. I truly believe that while scoring is up, it has been somewhat matchup dependent. Like I said, today I have 3 or 4 games that are around 4.5 goals. And I believe it's because of the matchups. Sharks, Devils, Toronto, Winnipeg, Dallas, Montreal. These just, when you put the teams together, they don't score a lot of goals. And when you pair them with some other teams, sometimes they do. So I think today we might see that first regression sign. And if I'm wrong, the NHL may just be different.
Yeah. We'll get to those games actually in the goalie poll segment. It's good that you have opinions on those because those are the ones that I don't really have too much of an opinion on. So that works out well. But I definitely have an opinion about this next game. My favorite game of the night. We have the Buffalo Sabres and the Vancouver Canucks in this one. You can find Buffalo anywhere from plus 130 to plus 143. Vancouver, the only team in the NHL without a win, is minus 155 to minus 167. 6.5s right across the board. In this one, I get it. Vancouver's at home. All 5 of their losses came on the road. But should they be just this big of a favorites because they're at home? Have odds makers seen what the Sabres have been doing this year? This is completely priced incorrectly. I got Sabres money line at plus 149 last night. I would still take it at minus 143, minus 130, like whatever odds you can get for it. I like the Sabres in this spot. I also like the over 6.5, which I got at plus 100. You can still get it at plus 100. The reasoning, um, Demko is struggling. If Vancouver's going to have any success at all, they need Demko to be a Vezina type goaltender because their defense is horrid. And with Demko, he's 0-3-1 with a 4.3 goals against and an 861 save percentage so far this year. That is horrible. Both these teams have scored at least 3 goals in every game so far this year as well. 5 of the last 6 meetings between these teams have gone over. So for me, I'm taking the over and I'm taking Buffalo. And if Vancouver happens to get a lead at any point in this game, you're darn right I'll be taking plus 250, plus whatever 300 with the Sabres money line live because Vancouver's blown a lead all 5 games to start the season so far. Why not make it 6? Uh, but the reason why I'm taking Sabres money line pregame is because I think there's a possibility that Vancouver may not have a lead at all in this game. I think it's potential that Buffalo comes out strong. Obviously, Vancouver will come out strong in the first period, you would assume, based on how their season. They're probably excited to be at home. I do think they have a good first period, but that just means I'm going to get a beautiful live betting price with the Sabres. Can't believe I'm saying that. Will, Sabres, Canucks, what do you think in this game? Should Vancouver be minus 155 to minus 167 favorites here?
To me, that's a loaded question, like very loaded. I've had an edge on Vancouver for the first 5 games, and I've played them in every game. I don't think I made them official for every game, but I personally played them every game, and they really fucked me. I'm not going to lie. Like, I feel so smart when they go up 2 goals, and then so stupid when they lose the game. Like it's insane. And this is a spot, and I don't like to talk about spots that much, that I absolutely hate. Third game of the road trip for the Sabres. Canucks are coming home after losing 5 straight. The number makes sense based on the spot. Based on the team's performance, this number is wonky. This number is stupid. I mean, the Sabres just went in and beat the Oilers and the Flames, 2 playoff teams, and they didn't just beat them. They played with them, and they should have won. So the only reason this number is where it is because Vancouver has lost 5 straight games, in my opinion. And because of that, I will stay off. But I would be on the Sabres. And if Vancouver gets a lead, hammer the Sabres. Because I believe Edmonton had a lead, and I believe Calgary had a lead. So that's all I got for this game.
Oh, I know Edmonton did, but I'm not sure if Calgary did.
Calgary was up 1-0, and the Sabres
were?
scored 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
One other thing that I'm getting up here, okay, not really the best price. Rasmus Dahlin, props. He's minus 130 to get a point. That's the best price you can get for it. I would look at a power play point for him, which isn't available at very many spots. If you can get power play points, Vancouver has an awful penalty kill. And you can't, okay, I know it's been, 4 or 5 games in the season, but you have to look at last year's penalty kill. If everyone remembers last year, and I may bring them back this year as well, I would bring up the stat sheets that I would make with like penalty kill stats, goals for, goals against, all that stuff. So may end up bringing that back. But Vancouver was one of the worst penalty kill teams throughout the year last year, and they have continued that here. So you can probably get some very nice power play point props. I'm seeing plus 225 for Rasmus Dahlin to get a power play point. Tage Thompson is, again, plus 250. So shop around if you can get power play point props. I think the Sabres will get some power play goals.
One other
tonight.
One other thing I do want to point out, I don't know what the price is anymore, and I am a fan of the Sabres. I just want to put that out there. But Dahlin for Norris is not just a dream. He might be the best defenseman in the NHL, and when the Sabres allow him to play with freedom in the offensive zone like they have been, I mean, you're seeing somebody who could arguably be better than Cal McCarr in the offensive zone. Not fully rounded player in the offensive zone. He's been doing this professionally since he's been 15, and he's finally scoring in the NHL. He could easily win the Norris. Hedman did it at 22. I believe Carlson did it at 22 or 23. This is the year that some of these defensemen break out. Cal McCarr was different. He was a 19-year-old who just jumped in the NHL. He was different. Dahlin's having his breakout. Get ahead of it.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I'm looking at him to get a point. And minus 130 is not the best price. So I may look at assist, or I'll have to look at it. But definitely want to take props.
I haven't looked at it. I have heard that shots have been pretty good for him, especially with him, leading the power play.
Yeah, a lot of people, and that's somebody tagged me earlier on about Matt Boldy over, I think it was 3.5 shots, Josh Inglis on Twitter. And I just told him I don't really pay too much attention to the shot props because there's so much else that I'm looking at. Shot props just unfortunately I just don't have the time to look them up. But yeah, speaking to that, Matt Boldy, I think he has a big game being from Boston, going to Boston today. So if you're looking at that, moving on to the next game, Carolina Hurricanes and the Calgary Flames. Oh, I got burnt on this Carolina team. I guess I'll go to the comment there. Nick got Dahlin for Norris at plus 5,000 in the preseason. So there you go. Good job, Nick. But looking at this game, Calgary and Carolina, you can find Carolina plus 110 to plus 123. Calgary is minus 135 to minus 141. 6s and 6.5s. When you look at this game, I took Carolina money line at plus 112. Obviously, I should have waited because you can get a better price now. Um, Calgary, obviously, very good. Both of these teams are coming off losses. Both of these teams are going to be looking to bounce back. I just think there's value with Carolina on the road. They are 4-0-1 in their last 5 games in Calgary. They have had success in Calgary, and I look for them to bounce back here tonight. I think this will be a very close game. So for anyone looking at a possible draw, I want to talk you off that. Carolina fought back against Edmonton. It wasn't enough, but I think this will be a close game. I'll take the nice plus money with the Hurricanes. Will, Hurricanes, Flames. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, so last year's numbers make Calgary about a 62% win percentage. And this year makes it about 79% Carolina. I take that with a huge grain of salt because I don't weight opponents, and Carolina has had much easier opponents than Calgary this year. I believe Calgary has played Colorado, Edmonton, Buffalo. And I just kind of want to watch this game personally. I have it projected for about 7 goals. If anything, I would probably go for the over. But Carolina just they're not an over team, and they haven't been forever. So I'm not sold on this game going over. This game could also be very much, a playoff hockey like game. We saw it with Vegas, Calgary. That was the other team that played Calgary, Vegas. We saw it with Vegas, Calgary the other night when Calgary won 3-2. You got 5 goals in that game. Very few games have been getting 5 goals, but I could see this one being very similar to that Calgary Vegas one. Very, hard checking, not many shots. Power plays really dominate the game. 5-on-5 could be a little bit boring in this one, dare I say.
All right. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's going to be a close game. So we'll go on to the last game, and then we'll get to the 4 other games that we didn't talk about. The Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights. In this one, you can get Colorado plus 105 to plus 112. Vegas is minus 125 to minus 133. 6.5s right across the board in this one. I'm going to change my best bet, which was Vegas money line. I got it at minus 110 yesterday. Now it's minus 125. So now it won't be my best bet anymore because I won't give it out at minus 125. I still like it, and I would still bet it. I obviously like getting minus 110 a lot better, but this is just not a good spot for Colorado.
It's still your best bet today, just not for the show.
Yeah. I'm still on it. I'm still confident. I still like Vegas to win. I just don't like the price that I'm getting now, and I don't want to give it out for my best bet anymore. I didn't know it moved so much, but I think it moved for a good reason. Colorado playing on a back-to-back against Vegas, and I was wrong. I'll give Nick his props. It's early in the season, but so far, Vegas has looked much better than I expected. Seems like Eichel has it seems like he's finally fitting in with Vegas this year. Last year, he seemed kind of out of sorts. But this year, he's fitting in, and Vegas is playing really well all around. These games tend to be really exciting games. I think this could potentially be the game of the night. I'll be watching it tonight, but I like for the home favorites, Vegas to win this game. I got them at minus 110. I'll be also looking at Vegas team total over, as I did with the Kraken team total over yesterday. Colorado has goaltending issues. I heard other people say that they have defensive issues as well. They don't. They actually have a really good defense. Devon Taves was out of the lineup yesterday, which hurt them. They do have a good defense. They just don't have good goaltending. And it will be Grubauer tonight, I'm assuming, because it was the other goalie last night. So I'm fine with fading Grubauer in this spot. So I like the Vegas Golden Knights at home. My first time betting on them this year, I think. But go Vegas. Will, Avalanche, Golden Knights, what do you think of this one?
I didn't look too in depth. Carolina, Calgary also fits this mold, but Colorado, Vegas as well fits the mold of just for me, above average teams in all facets of the game. Offense, defense for Vegas, offense, defense for Colorado are all, above average, top 15 in the NHL. So for me in this game, I agree with Terry that Vegas should be odds-on favorite, especially with the backup goaltender for Colorado and the back-to-back. I mean, back-to-backs have been ugly this year. I don't have the statistics, but I would be surprised if the team on the back-to-back is winning more than 25% of the time. I will be doing more statistics on that later tonight and probably send them out on my Twitter. But I just don't like Colorado in this spot. If I had to go anything, and I actually did put out a play yesterday, and I think you can get it at better odds now, under 6.5. I have this game projected for 5.4 goals. This year's stats have it projected for 4.9. So they're pretty in sync. And my only fear is the backup Colorado goalie going tonight, of course. But Colorado has such a good defense, and they control the puck when they play defense, and they get it out of the zone pretty easily. I just don't think this number should be minus, 125, 6.5 for the over. That just seems a little high for two playoff caliber teams with such good defenses.
Yeah, for sure. Nick and IceX are talking football there. Speaking of football, so the normal time, 4 p.m. Eastern, that we have during the week, that will be the time later on that I will do the show for tomorrow's games. Bryant will be joining me, maybe some others as well. We'll look at football, a little bit of NHL and as well. But that'll be the show approximately 4 hours from now. 4 hours, 20 minutes. But going to the goalie poll segment, the other 4 games that we did not discuss, Toronto, Winnipeg, Dallas, Montreal, Islanders, Tampa, and Philadelphia and Nashville. I don't have anything in any of these 4 games. Surprise, surprise. That's why they're in the goalie poll segment. Toronto, Winnipeg, I have absolutely no opinions about that game, really. Don't know what to make of Toronto right now. Don't really know what to make of Winnipeg right now either. How bad are they? How good are they? They're still to be determined with me. So those teams are kind of stay away teams for me right now. Dallas, Montreal. I think Dallas bounces back. I kind of want to back them, but minus 172, minus 180 on the money line. I can't do that. Don't really want to take them to win by 2 in this one because Montreal's played really well at home. So ultimately, that game is a stay off for me. I lean with Dallas to win, but no official play. Islanders and Tampa Bay. Again, kind of like Toronto and Winnipeg, 2 teams I don't really want to get involved with. Obviously, Tampa Bay on the back-to-back, so it should be Brian Elliott in net. That would be an advantage for the Islanders. And I believe they're plus money. Right? Yeah, plus 118. So it could be a good spot for the Islanders. I will not be on them, though. And then Philadelphia and Nashville. I'm tempted with Philadelphia just because of how they played so far this year. But I have enough action as it is today, so I will ultimately pass on this one. But it would be a lean with the Philadelphia Flyers. Will, final 4 games of the hockey slate tonight, what do you think?
So first, I grabbed Winnipeg plus 130 yesterday, and I need, I'm not getting some of these line movements. It's plus 150 now, so I wish I'd waited. But I have this game closer to pick 'em. I'm kind of shocked that Toronto is such heavy favorites with the poor hockey they've been playing this year, and it hasn't been against top tier talent. It hasn't been against the best teams in the NHL. So it truly is worrying me. The defense is better, but the offense is bad. It's below average in the NHL. So is Winnipeg's offense. And because of that, I would say last year's projected total, 7.6. This year's 4.3. That's a massive difference. And I'm not going to play it, but it may tell you something about these 2 teams. Especially Toronto, they might not be that over team that we thought they were last year. I'm excited to see where these numbers go. And if anything, besides the Winnipeg money line, which I'm pretty strong about because I think this game should be pick 'em, I would lean towards the under. I just think we're getting numbers from last year that maybe don't represent the hockey we've seen this year. And then Dallas, Montreal. Yeah, that's another one of these games. So I have it projected for 5.84 this year or last year, but this year 3.14. I'm surprised that this number even came out, but these I mean, Dallas offensively has been okay, mediocre. Their defense, number one in the NHL, 1.28 expected goals against. Montreal, their offense, 1.91 expected goals for. These are my numbers. And one of the worst offenses in the NHL. So if anything, I would lean towards the under here. I didn't play it because I'm waiting about, like I said, 5 more games. I like to have 5 home, 5 away games to really get an idea of what a team does. I don't think you can judge a team based on playing just home games or just road games because teams play so differently at different venues. So if anything, I would lean towards the under in the Dallas game. The Islanders movement, I'm not a big, backup goalie, bet the opposite team guy. It works though. So if you want to do that, watch those moves. I mean, Tampa played last night. This game was plus 140 all day yesterday. We knew Vazzy was going last night. We knew Elliott was going today. The market just decides to wait 12 hours to move. Don't really know why. And then Philadelphia, Nashville. This is another one of those games that secretly I think could go under. Just mediocre teams with not great offenses playing against each other. And that's what I mean by these overs, in my opinion, have been somewhat matchup dependent. When you get 2 teams that run and gun and play and have, balance off each other to score goals, you can really add to scoring quickly in this league. And today, I think we have some matchups that are prone to less scoring. I'm kind of surprised to see all the 6.5 still. So maybe the market fully disagrees with me, but we'll find out in about 12 hours.
Yeah, I think it might take like a whole bunch of unders before we start seeing numbers change. That would probably be my guess. Um, Moving on along, Betstamp, use code WILD in the referral code section. Make sure to do your line shopping. Find the best odds for whatever you are betting. The best odds means more money. And if you're betting on something, why not get the most money for what you're betting on? Follow me there at Let's Go Wild Picks on Betstamp to get all my picks as soon as I bet them. Going on to other picks, nothing for me. I'll be honest. I'm only focusing on hockey today. Obviously, we have a big NBA slate. There's still college football going on, so there's a ton of college football. We still have baseball playoffs, CFL. There's so much going on right now. We do have some other picks in the best bet segment, which we'll get to. For me, nothing in the CFL. Last week of the CFL, not really interested in getting involved. Already said with baseball, I'm kind of pushing it to the side now after that Phillies loss the other day and focusing fully on hockey. And then with NBA, I need I need some more time to get numbers in for myself to kind of judge these teams before I get too involved with NBA. So just hockey for me today. Will, any other picks that you like in any other sports?
No, I'm really focusing on hockey. I'm trying to dive deep into this year's numbers, trying to understand what the numbers opinions are of these teams, because I think, you can watch the games and get an opinion, but to me, the opinion I care about the most is what the numbers say, because that will project future outputs. So I'm just kind of waiting and seeing. I did notice just now we have a 5.5 tomorrow. San Jose and Philadelphia. So I truly, like I said, this is matchup dependent. And as these numbers do get inflated, some of these matchups do not deserve a 6.5. So I'm not going to be playing these right this second because I'm waiting for this year's numbers to come in a little bit more. But, Toronto, Winnipeg, 6.5 seems high. Dallas, Montreal, 6.5 seems high. So these numbers won't be around next time they play each other, in my opinion, based on how the teams have played this year.
All right. Cord likes Mavs -5. And his dog of the day is the Rockets.
Ooh.
+13.
Ballsy.
Well, yeah, +13. It's not the money line. That would be really ballsy. But yeah, I don't know much about the Rockets except that they're really supposed to suck. But we will go on to the best bet segment here and start with over under as we usually do. And I will bring up the screen here. I have 5 totals today, so I had to pick which one I'm ultimately going to go with. And yes, I'm going to go with Minnesota Boston over, not because of the Wild's defense and goaltending, but because I trust the Wild's offense to get some goals here. So Minnesota Boston over 6.5 -112. Nick is going with the Islanders and Tampa Bay over 6 -115. Tim is taking Hawaii and CSU under 46.5. Ryan is going with Pittsburgh team total over 3.5. Occupancy is going with Boston team total over 3.5. Brian is going Alabama and Mississippi State under 61. And IceX is going with LA Washington under 6.5. Will, is there a total that you like today?
Yeah, St. Louis Blues team total over 3.5.
All right.
Only take it at plus money though, if it's moved, just for people watching.
Let's see. I can find out what the odds are. If I can find the game here. So this is Edmonton. I will check quickly and see what the odds are. St. Louis, yeah, plus 128. Plus 128. Definitely still plus money. Good plus money, really. Wow. Dog of the day. Here for me, no, I'm not taking Minnesota as my dog of the day. I'm taking my favorite dog of the day, and that's the Buffalo Sabres, currently plus 143. Nick is going with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Tim isn't taking the Sabres. I'm kind of surprised here. He's actually going with his college football team, the East Carolina Pirates, plus 185. Ryan and Occupancy, both taking the Islanders, plus 112. Bryant is going with the St. Louis Blues, 135. And Ice X is taking Winnipeg, which is plus 150. Will, what do you think here for dog of the day?
Right now, I would go with the Winnipeg Jets money line.
Jets plus 150. All right. And then going on to best bet, I figured out what I'm going to do with my best bet. Give me Vegas team total over 3.5 minus 103. Nick is going with the LSU Tigers money line minus 101. Tim is taking Dallas Stars minus 1.5 at plus 180. Ryan is taking St. Louis Edmonton over 7 plus 112. Occupancy is taking Jake DeBrusk over 3.5 shots at plus 116. Bryant is taking Wisconsin minus 1.5 in college football, minus 110. And IceX is taking Boston in regulation, which is plus, let me see here. Boston in regulation is currently plus 137, the best price. That. Will, what do you think here? That's bad.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Stars Canadians under 6. It's minus 106 at FanDuel.
Right. Minus 106. Perfect. And that is today's show. Obviously, we'll have the other show for tomorrow's games coming up here at 4 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to tune into that. A strong lean on Rockets, but Bucks were 1-6 against the spread after an outright win as a dog last year. Okay. Best of luck there, Cord. But that is today's show. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the content, smash the like button. We appreciate all the support. And we'll see you again in about 4 hours-ish for another episode of Getting Wild with Terry and Friends. Best of luck. Nice play, Will. I'm tailing your play. So Cord likes that.
I'm tailing your play, man.
There we go. Best luck to everybody your best tonight, and we'll see you again in a few hours for another episode. Getting Wild with Terry and Friends. Best of luck, guys.